the comments that CFTC made. I don't know, if I were running a multi-$100 million or billion-dollar company and I found out about this and I had a legal team. Well, I didn't even have a legal team, although now we did have another meeting yesterday. Well, that wasn't a legal one, but we have a group formed. I'm going to find out what options are available. By all means, I get a lot of comments. Hey, should we sue these guys? Should we sue these guys? I'm down for all of the above of anyone who's been doing inappropriate stuff. I'm not a lawyer, so please, if there are lawyers out there that know exactly what to do with this information or have insight on that process, contact us through the site. That's where I could use some help. I've got the evidence and I could find plenty more, I assure you. But anyway, let me read through this quickly. It's not too long, so this is not quite as long as the other night. So this was sent to Commissioner Benham, the CFTC oversight email address, and a variety of people throughout my network, so they could see that it was sent to him and what I said, as well as the file that was attached. Dear Acting CFTC Commissioner Rostin Benham, please see the attached letter regarding the recent comments you made in a podcast about the suspicious activity in the silver market in early February of 2021, as well as the 2 rounds of evidence I submitted through your whistleblower program. And okay, looks like we are coming through live, which is good. Just checking on that. Evidence that explains how the price of silver fell 10% on February 2nd of 2021, while the ETFs and bullion dealers set historical records for demands on that very same day. Just one day after you announced that your agency is communicating with fellow regulators, the exchanges, and stakeholders to address any potential threats to the integrity of the derivatives market for silver. Interesting wording. They're concerned about the integrity of the derivatives market for silver, not so much the underlying commodity. And Rostin Benham talked a lot about derivatives in climate control or climate change, whatever the heck they call it now. How about the commodity? Then maybe actually, once again, it's clear what they care about. The derivatives market. Who owns the derivatives market? The banks that were getting their faces blown off, as detailed in the LBMA's report. So they're watching for potential threats to the integrity only, apparently, of the derivatives market for silver, and remains vigilant in surveying these markets for fraud and manipulation. So that was their quote. And continuing in my words, on behalf of over 51,000 silver investors, market participants, silver industry stakeholders, silver mining executives, bullion dealers, and institutional investors and analysts who follow my research and count on the integrity of the silver market to make their living, run their businesses, and provide for their employees and families, I'm seeking clarity on the comments you made in your interview posted here on March 18th, which include the following gems. The resiliency and the market structure of the futures market was able to tamp down what could have been a much worse situation in the silver market. Of course, if we go back to the chart of earlier this week, I don't know, was the thing tamped down by the market structure when it got to 27? Does that mean that there's enough stop orders and short paper at the handle that it will get tamped down? That was one of the many questions I had. Another quote was the clearing infrastructure, very strong initial margin, daily mark-to-market, position limits, all these things together, I think really were managing what was at some point in those few days in late January, potentially a challenging situation. So he's talking about now, those are things that the CFTC does control. So let me come back to that because this will make sense. And give credit to now here's where the recording cuts out. It would seem, based on the context, that give credit to the agency for utilizing its authority and some of the tools it has within the margin space to control the price and volatility of the silver contracts. My entire financial career, which is about 20 years now, I've never heard anybody say that, and I still can't find any way to describe that other than price fixing. Yet here, while it's unclear because that word, whether it was talking about the agency, that's what I was getting at earlier, all these things, clearing infrastructure, strong margin, mark-to-market, position limits, those are things from the agency. All of these things together, I think, really were managing what at some point was a potentially challenging situation. So that confirms whatever the missing word was here. If you look at what his sentence is actually saying in the first paragraph, He's talking about how the agency was managing a potentially challenging situation for the derivatives complex that was imploding just one day after he said he was looking at it. In the attached letter, I've raised several questions that I, as well as thousands of other silver industry stakeholders, have regarding your comments. Seeking clarity on what you meant, as these comments are directly relevant to all of your constituents in the silver industry, not just the banks. And given how you also spoke several times about the transparency of the CFTC, I'm writing to inform you of the questions I regularly receive, yet remain unable to answer. I'm also requesting an update on the 2 detailed rounds of evidence I submitted on February 12th and April 6th, which explain how the price of silver was able to fall by 10% on February 2nd, despite most metrics showing how that particular day may well have been the single greatest day of silver demand in the history of the financial markets, which is why I say that is detailed in the letter. And as is detailed in the letter, these same crimes that your agency has fined several banks for in the recent years continue to occur on a regular basis. And I'm writing to you now to see if your agency has any intention of putting a stop to it. Signed my name on it, again, copied to the industry stakeholders so that they can be aware of it. Because I got the question, oh, it's all the comments, oh, these guys are never going to answer, you're wasting your time. I agree they're probably never going to answer. I would disagree with the second part. This was not designed for them to answer. It was designed so they have a chance to answer if they want. I'm guessing they won't, because I can't imagine what else someone could say without further incriminating himself. I mean, I'm asking. I don't know. But if they don't answer, well, now a lot of people know about it. And I'll bet there are a lot of people who are finding out about it who aren't too happy about it. And I have a feeling the market will take care of it. I don't know. Maybe it'll take a week. Maybe it'll take a year. Maybe it'll take 10 years. But like I've mentioned before, I don't know. I nothing else I really want to do, because these guys already ruined finance. That was why I left. It was like, well, I'm sitting on a trading floor. The whole thing's rigged. What am I going to sit there with the other guys who believe in the Fed and just seemed like a waste of time? And it's a little annoying that they ruined the industry. But again, that's why I did create the Silver Industry Integrity Committee and promoting integrity, transparency that the CFT speaks of yet never delivers, accountability and free market trading in the silver market. So again, I don't have subpoena power, and nobody has to listen to what I say. I mean, it's all voluntary. I'll say what I think is what's on my mind. You come and listen. Some people enjoy it. You don't have to. CFTC doesn't have to, but at least in terms of the things I say. All right, I said Silver Industry Integrity Committee. There's one of many steps to come, however many are required. Another step we took here, I want to thank everyone that has contributed to the Will the CFTC Honor Its Oath in the Silver Market campaign? Looks like we have crossed the $23,000 level. And the purpose of this was that you can pledge money. If the CFTC answers these questions, then the money goes to some of the victims of the child trafficking unfortunate thing that has been coming up. Certainly some people that I think could use some help. If the CFTC does not answer the questions that, hey, I have the questions, I get the questions from other people, it's not just me. So if they don't answer the questions, the people who could use some help will not get the money, because it will be used for legal action against the CFTC and basically whoever's putting their name on this stuff. I mean, went to Washington, still can't find anybody in Washington who even wants to see the evidence. So anyway, that's another step. And this link is in the description field of all of the videos now, and those links below. So if you ever feel moved or disgusted by the CFTC, and I know a lot of people say, well, they're the big boogeyman. What can I do against government? Well, I don't have all the answers, but I have a lot planned, figuring out some as I go along. But if you would like to connect with some other people who feel similarly, and at least I'm doing what I can. I'm not saying there aren't other great ways. I mean, anything that makes an impact, I applaud. And anyone who calls any of these banks, I applaud. In fact, I have been thinking of picking a day. Maybe we can all send emails, call the CFTC, and just make sure that it's known. I actually wondered, as I was writing the letter to Benham, I wondered if there's a chance that the guy still has no idea who I am. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they don't check their Twitter feed. I mean, probably don't check their whistleblower data line. I don't know. I mean, you would think so, yet even like Jeff Curry or Jamie Dimon, or even after I did the Bart Chilton interview, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not even saying it's more likely than not, but to me, it's at least possible, knowing the banker mindset that is focused on the bonus, focused on money and nothing else. And I mean, I guess perhaps a great example of that would be the stuff you see with Jeff Christian, where I don't think he gets that people are mocking the things that he is saying. And we did have a new tweet from Jeff Christian this morning, as usual. I didn't really understand what he was saying, but I guess we're getting used to that by now. So anyway, a couple other quick notes. Got a new 10Q from iShares yesterday, and I found something interesting in here that I'm going to dig into a little bit further. So I will say this is my thought. This is not fact, but I think it is worthwhile because it touches on something that I've wondered about the SLV trust. Come on now, where is that thing? Custodian. All right, here we go. Because my guess is that it's not like just an empty vault somewhere. But I've wondered if, all right, if you can smash the price, you say price of SLV is $25 a share, which would be maybe that when silver's at 26. I know the spread between the silver price and SLV has changed, but let's just use $1 to make it simple. So usually the COMEX price is $1 plus or minus over the SLV price. So that means if silver is $26, SLV is $25. So if an investor pays a share for $25, but then you hammer the price of, not you, but the banks, hedge on it. If Jeff Curry, decides to violate the SLV prospectus and hedge futures on the COMEX, rather than paying $26 for the actual silver, they can scalp the difference if they drive it lower. And here, great sentence, JP Morgan Chase is responsible for the safekeeping of the silver bullion owned by the trust. I heard a rumor, this is not confirmed, that JP Morgan silver traders are getting Fox masks for part of their bonus this year. And they're going to ask all of the SLV investors to wear chicken and hen suits. Not confirmed, so don't report that officially yet. But anyway, check this out. Fair value of the silver bullion held by the trust is based on the price per ounce of silver determined in an electronic auction consisting of one or more 30-second rounds hosted by the ICE Benchmark Administration that begins at 12 p.m. London time and published shortly thereafter on each day that the London silver market is open for business. So basically, now I don't know, but this is just how I'm reading it. 12 o'clock London time. That means 7 a.m. New York time, I believe. So basically, as I'm reading this, the value of the trust is marked at that price. What I am wondering is does that mean that, all right, here at 7 a.m., this is the price. If you want to buy shares of SLV that day, I don't know, but I'm wondering, is that the price that you just pay throughout the day? And if they can jack it lower and get 20 cents on however many million shares, just scalping that spread, that's what I've wondered. Hopefully Ross Benham of the CFTC is investigating that, but I don't know. But that would be the first thing I would look for, and I'll research into this a little further. That was what I thought back in February, especially on February 2nd when the price fell. That is certainly a way that I've seen similar banks do things I mean, that's spoofing. That's what spoofing does. Here, oh, this is an interesting one. We'll come back to, actually, we'll do this quick. This is the worth reading through if you haven't seen it. This was the letter Andrew Maguire sent to the CFTC 11 years ago in 2010, which just shows why I don't expect much from the CFTC. In fact, I had one friend who said, hey, Chris, didn't you give him until the end of trading this week for a response? Like, that's kind of a short amount of time. And I said, well, I respectfully disagree. I mean, this has been, we've been waiting, some people have been waiting since 1980, some since 2010 or 2011. I don't know. I don't need a lawyer to go out and tell the truth every day on the show. This is an agency full of lawyers, yet they can't comment, yet they can say plenty at the Boca Raton conference. So if they can't comment by the end of the week, good. All right. Clearly, they don't need my help doing such a bang up job without asking about the evidence. And then here is a perfect example. Here is February 5th. Maguire wrote, common knowledge, hey, so basically someone telling them once again, here's how the scheme works. Not going to read through the whole thing now, but a couple highlights. So he said, I'll give you a heads up for the labor. There's two scenarios. One, the news is bad, employment is worse. This will have a bullish effect on gold and silver and precious metals, spiking them higher. So will be sold into, within 1 to 5 minutes, thousands of contracts added. Scenario 2, news is good, bad for metals. This will result in the massive short position being spiked almost immediately. You see that time and time again where, let's say, you had the Fed announcement and they decided right here they were doing QE12. And so people would buy gold and silver, and you often see it spike up before getting hammered down. So you can get a few more people on board and steal from them too. That is a banking special. Andrew Maguire walked it through them. Here, he sends the evidence. If you get this in a timely manner, I would suggest you look at who is adding short contracts in the silver contract while gold still rises after the data. There should be no reason for this occurring. I mean, I don't have the access to the trading records. Andrew Maguire doesn't have it. The CFTC has it. And look at how concerned they were. The guy tells them exactly what will happen. I mean, we know he was right because you've seen it for the last 15 years. If I can compile the data, the CFTC should be able to hear more evidence. I noted how added short sales, Bear Stearns, telling them everything. Sends another one, just logging off, final note. I hope this is giving you an example of how silver is managed. This was long manipulation, say the energy market, the shoe would be on the other foot. Have a good weekend. Dear Mr. Ramirez, I haven't received any acknowledgement. Well, I'm familiar with that pattern. My objective was to give you something to watch in advance, to watch, log, and follow up in your market manipulation investigation. Huge footprints. I've honored my commitment. All I ask is that you acknowledge receipt of my information. The rest I leave in your hands. And here's the bullshit analysis from this fraudulent agency. Good afternoon, Mr. Guire. I've received and reviewed your email communications. Thank you so much for your observations. And this is the same agency 10 years later found hundreds of thousands of occasions of cheating during this exact time period when Elliot Ramirez, where's this guy? You owe the world an explanation, Elliot. You fit right in perfectly. It's disgusting. There's Daly Ross Norman. This guy who used to find evidence of manipulation 3 years ago with Grant Williams. Norman said, you betcha, when asked if central banks had an interest in manipulating the gold market, well, adding he didn't know if they were doing it, but thought they probably were. You really couldn't figure out if they were doing it yet. Here he pulls in 180. And now he says the same linear thinking, in my view, and this is where I disenfranchise many of you, applies to those who maintain that the gold market is manipulated. My frustration is firstly that there is not only no evidence to support that view. What a fool. I don't even know this guy, but what a fool. And less regard or critical thinking around the second order effect of pushing the mantra. I have many personal friends who would not consider investing in gold because they believe the bullshit. These morons pushing the line are working against their own interests, no matter the damages to the brand. All right, Ross Norman, I'm calling you a fraud. That was a stupid fucking thing to say. And if you want to defend it, let me know. Sick of these liars. Fortunately, we have some real companies that do real honest things in the world. Here's Kuya Silver. It's like the antidote to banking. Thank God. I'm sorry to like be this irritated on the air, but it's just hard listening to this stuff. How do these guys sleep at night? Well, I don't care. I'd forget them. We'll finish off silver news from a couple of real companies and wrap up. But Kuya Silver launches drill program at the Kerr Silver Project. Commenced an initial drill program at 100% owned Kerr Project, part of the Silver Kings Project. And David Stein, who you've met before, is very excited to start Kuya's second drill program 2021. And there is the 43-101. So this link, you can read through all the description, the details in the description field below. And also we have a note from Silver Elephant, as Silver Elephant Sonawayo drills 2 meters of 645 grams per ton silver, 5.1% lead, 1.3% zinc, 0.2% copper, within 5 meters of 380 grams per ton silver equivalent. And you can see there are some results here. This one, link to that also in the description field below, and you can find out more about what John Lee and Silver Elephant is doing there. And lastly, a note from Bluestone Resources. Now, this is more on the gold side, but Bluestone annual and special meeting of shareholders to be held via teleconference. If only the CFTC had some equivalent of this. Announces that due to the evolving concerns associated with the coronavirus, Bluestone has organized a conference call whereby shareholders and interested stakeholders can actually join the meeting and talk with the company and get actual accountability. So I thank you, Jack Lundeen and Bluestone, for running a company in honest fashion and setting a great example for the CFTC and regulators all around. If only the rest of the world were like the mining stocks with integrity. But hey, what are you going to do? Except keep calling, sending letters, and let the evidence get out there. Not the way I would design it, but I'm glad that I sent the thing this morning. Glad that people are seeing it. I feel really honored that what I'm doing is supported by companies and people with integrity. I don't claim to have everything right, but I come on here and put my name and face to it. People have questions, I answer them, and I'm going to keep going forward until at least the silver market has integrity. So anyway, if anyone needs to read that letter, you can download it from a link in the description field below. Welcome to use it. Send it to anyone you'd like. And just think, though, once we do have some honor and integrity back in these markets, it's going to be pretty exciting. And I will see you there. I'm on my way to Phoenix today for Bix Weir's event. I will be speaking, I believe, and playing some music. Got my keyboards that are have sound activated lights that glow. It's quite cool, and look forward to meeting some of you there, and hope everybody's getting set for a great weekend full of lots of fun stuff, getting outside in some sunshine. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and I will see you again soon.